Legend says that magic pours into the world from a high atop the tallest mountain. Is that true, or just a load of old cotswood? Well, let's go rambling and find out in the Highland. Hello, welcome to the Bottled Imp, exploring the realms of fantasy. My name is Ken Boyter, and today you may have noticed that we're in a slightly different location. So thank you so much for Moog for letting us film here again. Now we are going to be looking at the Highland, which is an expansion for Talisman, the revised 4th edition. So you do need the base game in order to play the Highland. And yeah, let's take a look. So grab your dirk and don your kilt as we go into the Highland. So, what exactly do you get in the box when you buy the Highland expansion? Well, you'll be happy to know you get quite a lot of components, so let's go through them all. You get one corner board that fits snugly into your base game board. You also get this beautiful big rule book that's full colour and it's got nice pictures and very clear illustrations about how to play the game or how to play the expansion. You also get 142 Highland cards, you get 12 new adventure cards, you get 10 new spell cards, you also get 4 of these Relic cards, and we'll go into exactly what they do in a minute. You also get 3 alternate ending cards, plus you get 6 new character cards with 6 new figures. Now you've probably noticed that mine are painted and I'm one missing. The rogue has gone rogue. I don't know where it's gone. Hopefully it's back in the base game box. So as you notice, I paint these figures. They do come grey, but I like a bit of colour. So that's exactly what you get in the box. Now the setup of the Highland is pretty simple. As you can see, I've fitted the board, corner board, nicely against the base board, and you enter the Highland via the crags, so you need to line it up with the crags of the baseboard. And then what you do is you place the adventure cards for the Highland, which are these, next to the board, and you also place the Relic cards next to the board, although I think in the rulebook it says leave them in the box, but hey, I want to see them on the board. Then what you do with the spell cards, they actually get shuffled into your base spells. So these are kind of normal spells, if you like, but obviously they're new. And you just shuffle them in, and then hopefully you'll get to pick one. Plus, you do exactly the same with the adventure cards. These are regular adventure cards that, again, they match the base game adventure cards. So you shuffle them in, and again, hopefully you'll pick them. And that is pretty much the setup. So, with the Highland, what's the point of the Highland? Well, the Highland is, as it sounds, it's a mountainous region, and it actually is home to the Eagle King. And he's a big bad boss. He has a strength of 8 and a craft of 8. So if you get all the way round to the end space, which is here, to the Eyrie, then you get to fight the boss, Eagle King. But we'll go into that in a second. So first of all, how do you get into the Highland? Again, similarly to the dungeon, and we have done a dungeon review of that, so you can check that one out. You roll the dice, very simple, and then with your character you will then enter via the crags. Now you do need an overspill of movement, so if I was here and I just rolled a 1, I'm not into the Highland, whereas if I rolled a 2, 1, 2, then I'd go into the Highland. If you rolled more than that, obviously you'd go 1, 2, 3. Now you do have to follow the arrows, there's little arrows here, so you do have to travel in this direction if you're going to get to the end space. You can't just jump down like that. Equally, if you want to leave at any point, apart from if you get to the Eyrie, you can't leave, you have to fight the boss, you then can move back. And again, you roll the dice, and you do need a bit of an overspill. So 1, I'm stuck there for that go, and I'd need to roll again on the next go to get out. But if I rolled a 5, I could go 1, 2, and then choose which way I wanted to go that way. So that's how you get into the Highland. There is another way, and that's via one of these adventure cards, but I don't want to spoil that because that's quite fun. And just to point out that the Highland is a separate region. So if an event says it affects us, that particular region, then the Highland may not be included, because if you picked an adventure card that affected just the outer region, that is a separate region. So fighting the Eagle King, if you've managed to get all the way through and you've landed on the Eagle King, you fight him. And why do you want to fight him? Well, A, he's attacking you, so you kind of want to fight him. And B, it does mean you will be winning one of these relics. Now, there's only 4 of them, and they are very, very, they're powerful relics. You don't get to choose which one, but, any of them will be good. You'll be happy to get them. You can go into the Highland as many times as you like during the game, but obviously if all the relics get taken, you won't get a relic if you beat the Eagle King. And as I say, he's got a strength 8 and craft 8. You can choose which one you want to use to fight him. If you win, you get a relic, as I just said. Plus, you exit, you get to choose which space in the outer or the middle region you want to go to. Whereas, if it's a standoff, i.e. you drew and you didn't beat him but you didn't lose, then he just boots you out at the crags. Equally, if you lose against him, then you lose a life like normal, and again, he boots you out at the crags. So, let's have a quick look at some of the characters that you get. Now, when I buy the expansions for Talisman, one of the things I really love is actually all the new characters that you get, because that just adds, obviously, more special abilities and new characters that you can play, and see if, one character is better than another character, see if you can use them to do different strategies, that kind of thing, using their special ability to actually, pick a different strategy. So we have, obviously, the Highlander, and he's looking brave with his ginger hair and his long kilt. We have the Alchemist, obviously very good at changing objects into gold. We have the Sprite. Now, the Sprite may look pretty weak, but I do believe somebody has actually won a game of Talisman using the Sprite. I can't remember if it was me or my brother. I'm going to say me. Of course I am. Then we have the Valkyrie. She's pretty fierce. Again, good special abilities. The Vampiress. And she's looking pretty scary, pretty pale as well, obviously. And we have the Rogue, which, like I say, my one has gone rogue. Hopefully I'll find that before I want to play Talisman again. So there we go. We get 6 new characters, and that's absolutely fantastic. The other thing that you get in the box is, as I say, 3 alternate ending cards. Now, if you haven't got an expansion before that has actually any alternate ending cards, you may not have come across these. This basically means you can choose which ending that you want to change the end space. So normally when you go to the Crown of Command, you get there and then you start casting command spells that then kill off other characters, and that's how you win the game. But this time you may, for example, come across the Eagle King, but I don't know, he's obviously flown off from his little nest at the Eyrie. He's gone over to the Crown of Command. And he has a strength 12 and a craft 12 when you get to him at the Crown of Command. And there's various different things that you can use against him to win, obviously. Hopefully you'll be powerful enough to beat him. There's also the Battle Royale, which is just madness, where I think one of the options is everyone just gets summoned to the Crown of Command and you just fight. And there's this one, the Hand of Doom. And that, again, you roll a die and certain things happen. I won't go into it in detail because obviously part of the fun about the alternate endings is not necessarily knowing exactly what ending you're going to get. So that appears to be absolutely everything, apart from, I'm just going to mention, these little trinkets. Now, in these Highland cards that you get as the adventure card, so when you move and it says draw 1 card and you're in the Highland, you'd actually be drawing from this deck here. And you may come across these little trinkets. Now here there's a ruby, there's an opal, healing potion, and ice scepter. These are just examples, obviously there's more of them. Now, although it says object, it then says trinket underneath. It doesn't count towards your object tally. So ordinarily when you start the game, each character can only carry 4 objects. Unless you get a mule, you can carry more. But these don't count, these are trinkets. Now, for example, some of these trinkets, it says if you visit the Alchemist in the city, and the city's in the base game, then you can discard this card to gain 3 gold. So again, that's a really nice little touch. Others are just straightforward, you know, like a normal object, like this one, the healing potion, you can heal up to your lives, that kind of thing. And some are weapons, but they're trinkets, so they're really handy, and that just adds a little bit more flavour to the Highland. And that's it. That's the Highland. What do I think of it? Well, I really enjoy playing with the Highland because it just, again, it adds that extra realm that you can go and explore. And like the dungeon, it's similar in its gameplay to the base game. There's no real other mechanics that are going on. You roll the die, you land on the space, you resolve the space. And it's that simple. The artwork matches beautifully for all the other expansions, and it you know, as you can tell on the board, it starts off all nice and jolly and green, and then it starts getting, you know, scarier. As you can see, there's cannons and cliff faces, and there's a lost city that isn't very good if you get stuck there. And it does actually remind me, I have climbed a mountain, a couple I think, when I say climbed, I just walked up it, Ben Nevis in Scotland. That was fantastic. And yeah, we just thought, oh, it doesn't look that tall. But as you got higher and higher, the mist came, and then at the top there was snow. And on the way back down, there were people actually who were dressed in Lord of the Rings costumes. So that was very exciting. I was very excited. So there you go. I would recommend playing the Highland. If you want a slightly different expansion, there's the city, and we've done a review of that. And again, there's different mechanics. You still roll and move, but the city is more about buying pets and upgrading your armor and getting better weapons. And you can do wanted posters to get extra gold, that kind of thing. So there's a slightly different gameplay. Here, this is good for attacking, getting monsters, and powering up your strength and craft by collecting trophies. Plus, we will be doing a review of the Woodland, and that has a few more complicated mechanics. So, if you want a kind of basic corner board, I would recommend either the Highland or the dungeon. So, as you can imagine, if you've got all four, so the city, the Highland, the Woodland, and the dungeon, it's one hell of a massive game. So, go out, check out the Highland, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching our review of the Highland expansion for Talisman, the revised 4th edition. I was going to say the magical quest game, and it is magical. Yes, just to reiterate, if I can say that word, really enjoy the Highland, totally recommend it, as well as the other expansions that we've reviewed. Check them out. We've also done a few mini reviews as well, the Blood Moon and the Reaper. And there are more mini reviews, and as I say, there is more mini expansions that we are going to review, and there is the Woodland that we're going to review, plus the Dragon, which is another biggish expansion. Anyway, thank you once again. Check us out on the Facebook and the Twitter. Join us next time. Oh yes. Thank you so much for watching our review of the Highland expansion. That was Grockle Snook. He's got hay fever, honestly. You would have thought, trapped in a bottle, it'd be fine.
Let's start again.
Should we do that again?
Keep rolling. Still rolling.
Oh, a little fly went up my nose the other day, and I sneezed and really like killed it, I think. Just like, okay, like 300 miles an hour.
I'm glad I'm recording this, because this is
This is, blackmail. Yeah, I know what you're like.